Hello live wires, Heather Boyd Wire here, and welcome to my channel for all kinds of wire art and jewelry making tutorials and live streams. So today I'm making rings on the Artistic Wire Deluxe Jig Kit. This was inspired by my live stream last week. I'll link that one up below. What you're going to need for this project is of course the Artistic Wire Deluxe Jig Kit. You're going to need your tools. I have cutters, flat pliers, and round pliers. You'll need a ring cone or a round shape to form the rings. I have 20 gauge wire, 18 gauge wire, and 22 gauge wire. I like the Artistic Wire tarnish resistant silver and gold from Beaded. And you're going to need some beads. I have my favorite miracle beads. I have 8mm and 6mm beads for this project. So we'll just set up the jig with 3 pins at one end and 3 at the other end. So we need to put the pegs in, and then you always need to use the little plugs on the back. If you have lost your plugs, I finally found a source for the plugs. I'll put the link up below. You could either buy the tubing and cut them yourself, or you could buy them pre-cut in my Etsy DIY shop. So now I'm going to count down 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for that peg, and we're going to stick the plug on the back, and then we're going to put these two just above like that, and that will be the setup for the first ring. So I have a 10-inch piece of the 20 gauge wire, and I'm just going to place it on the jig centered like this. So just stick it between these pegs, make sure there's even amount on either side, hold the wire in place, and then you're going to go around 1, 2, 3, and then we'll do the same on this side. So we're going to go straighten it out a little bit if you have to, and we're going to go around 1. I'm going to just hold my finger here so the wire doesn't wiggle around too much, and then around here, because the wire can slip off the peg, so try to hold it in place as much as possible, and then around here, and straighten the wire out a little bit. So then you could always press these down to get them more closely together, and then we're going to remove it from the jig. Make sure your wires are straight, and then position these so the wires are stacked one on top of each other, so you have like 3 wires. Now if you have trouble scratching the wire when you hold it with the pliers, just cut a little piece of an elastic band, place it in the center where you want to hold the wires, get your flat pliers, hold it in place, and then take this one here and wrap it around all the way around a couple of times, and then rotate it, place the elastic back in place, hold it with your flat pliers, and then take this one and wind it around a couple of times. You can wind it 2 or 3 times, and then we're going to clip that one there and clip this one, and from there we want to just press our little ends in so they're not sharp. Just press them in, and there you have your basic shape for the ring. And then you need your ring cone, and you're just going to hold it and wind it around the ring cone to your size. So because these are kind of staggered one over the other, they're somewhat adjustable, and you can always go in with a thinner wire and add beads if you want. And there's our first ring. Now if you want to put a bead in that design, you can just make the band a little bit shorter. So we're going to go up 2 pegs like that, and we will put the plugs back in there, and we're going to start it in the same way that we did the first ring. So that's our basic shape. Have those little ends to the outside, hold it in place and bend it around. Now there's a couple of ways you can add a bead, and it depends on how big you want the ring to be. So this is sort of our basic shape. On the live stream, I added a wire through the bead and just wound it around these two. That was one way that I did it, and the other way was just to put the wire through there and wind it around the band. So you can do either way. I'll show you how to do this way now. So for that, we'd have to actually bend up this loop here and also bend up this loop a little bit here, and then we'll get our bead. So I'll take a 4-inch piece of 22 gauge wire and put it in the 8mm bead, and we're going to just stick one wire through there, hold it in place, and put the other wire through that loop. And from there, we're going to start by holding it and winding it around this band first. Now make sure these are like beside each other. So we're going to go around here and wind it through probably 3 times is nice. You could do it 2 or 3 times, whatever you like the look of. Grab the end with the pliers and give it a little clip. Pinch it in place. And then over here, we want to make sure that it's nice and snug. And then we're going to bring it through here. Make sure you're pulling it snugly. You can take the pliers to help out a little bit. In there, and one more time, and then give it a little clip. And from there, we'll just push our little ends in. This one too, push the little end in, and we'll put it back on the ring cone. This one ended up being a little bit small, but you can always make the space between these two sets a little bit larger. So it looks really pretty though. Looks like petals from a flower, and there you have your beautiful Celtic style ring with the bead. So for this one, we're going to start with those 3 pegs, and we're going to put 3 more sort of in the mirror image of those, and we're going to leave 1 hole in the middle. That's going to be the place for our bead. So we want to put the plugs on the back. Make sure you really push them in so they're solid. So we'll take about a 5-inch piece of wire and stick our 6mm bead on there and just put it sort of a little bit at an angle here. And what we're going to do is first go around that peg and then around this one. And then we're just going to go around like we did previously. So around that one, make sure it goes down, and then around that one here. And if it's going to get in the way, just clip it a little bit. We can clip it more after. And then this one, make sure it goes between those pegs. Sometimes you have to wiggle it a bit, and then bring it around here. We'll just remove it from the jig, and then we want to clip these so they're flush. So we're just going to clip that one there and push that one down so it's flush there, and then we're going to clip that one, and then we're going to get our flat pliers and we're just going to push it all together. So we're going to push that one down, make sure those little openings are closed. You can always hammer this a bit with a mallet so it'll hold its shape a little bit better. It also works well with a smaller bead. So what you want to do is just make sure these are nicely pressed together. And then this one too, make sure it's going to hold its shape. Give it a little hammer if you think it needs it. You can just curve it a little bit to one side. And then to make the band, we need an 18 gauge wire. So we'll take about 3 inches of 18 gauge wire and just bring it around the ring cone. and then put it in the position that you want your ring, and bring this piece back to figure out where you're going to have to bend up the wires. So once you have that position, get your round pliers and just bend it up at an angle. You can always double check, put that in there, and then double check where the other one is going to need to be bent and bend it up here. Keep in mind when you pull it back, it might pull it a little smaller. So now you're just going to take your piece and put it on those two wires. So they're on the outer loops, and then very, very carefully go ahead and then bring this one back here. Bend it very carefully so you don't distort the knot. We've got them bent back, and then you want to give this one a little tug to really close that space there, and then you're going to cut it flush. Same thing on this side. Take your pliers, pull it so it's really snug, give it a good little tug, and then pinch that to clip it. And then we're going to get our flat pliers, bring that in so it's nice and closed, and the sharp little bit is pushed in, and we'll put it back on the ring cone very carefully to form it around here so we don't distort the ring. And there you have your beautiful ring with the 18 gauge band. So the next one can be made with a 6 or an 8mm bead. Instead of one whole space there, we're going to just bring this down a notch so there's 2 holes there, and then place these back, and we'll put our plugs on the back. So I have a 10-inch piece of the 20 gauge wire. I'm going to put a 6mm bead on there, and we're going to place it as we did the previous ring. Make sure you have equal amounts on either side, and then we're just going to go ahead and do like we did previously. So around 1, 2, before I turn it all the way around, I'm going to do the ones on this side. So we're going to go around 1, 2, 3, just around like that. Wiggle it a little bit if you have to. Bring this one all the way around now. So from there, we're going to remove it from the jig. We're going to hold this one in place and just wind this wire all the way around, one full turn. And then we're going to push this one towards the outside. This one, same idea. We're just going to hold it in place, get it a full turn around, and then push this one out. So at this point you can straighten these wires. Sometimes it's easier to do if you have a cloth or even a Kleenex. We're just going to straighten them out, and that's what you have so far. You can push it a little bit this way to start the formation of the ring. Get your ring cone, and I've cut the wires a little long, but better too long than too short. So we're going to bring these ones around, put it to the ring size that you want, and then you can remove it from the cone. So from there, you're just going to make sure these are centered. Put your flat pliers here, hold this with your finger, and then we're just going to bring this wire in. And because the 20 gauge wire is more delicate, I'm going to just wrap it around a couple of times. Flip it around, hold it in place again, and then bring this one in and wrap it around a couple of times. I like cutting my wire a little too long for this one. It's just easier to grab onto the wire. Bring it all the way around like that, and then you can clip these ends. This one too. push them in so they're not pokey. This one too, push it in so it's not too pokey or scratchy. And you'll see there's a little bit of leeway there, so if you have to adjust it a little bit, you can. And then always put it back on the ring cone. It's kind of cute with them sticking out like that, but you can also like mold them to the ring shape. And there you have your beautiful little ring, all made with one piece of wire there. So thanks so much for watching the video. Give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for lots more wire art and jewelry making videos. Hit the notification bell to be notified when I go live and when I post new videos. And if you'd like to share photos of your wire art and jewelry, be sure to join the Wire Makers Club on Facebook. And if you'd like to check out my work on Etsy, my husband and I specialize in custom wedding cake toppers and funky jewelry. I also have a mailing list, so if you'd like to sign up below, I'll send you my Wire Art Essentials ebook. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you the next time.